Hello, welcome to another video from LightSpeedStats.com. Today we're going to focus on the betting rules in the strategy builder, explain what they are, go through some of those, make that all a little bit easier for you to understand. So let's get on with it today. When you go back to the software, if you remember the last video, and you might not have watched it, on horse selection rules, we had a strategy and we were looking at BSP. We're basically looking at a DOB where the price halves 60% of the last 5 races. Okay, but the next part we need to do once we've got that is select the betting rules. Okay, and these are really important. Okay, they're fairly simple and you can leave most of it as it is, but it's important that you choose the right things for your strategy. So we're going to try a back to lay here. So our bet side is to back. Okay, very simple. The next thing you want to choose is your entry price. Okay, now here we're going to do a price range, and we're going to do, now obviously with a DOB you could do anything between well, I guess 2.0, but I think 2.0 is very short for a DOB, so I like to go for 3.0 as your minimum, and then I like 25 as my maximum. The reason is, if you try and DOB a horse that's odds are really high, it's very difficult to get your money matched. You'll be surprised in play how difficult that can be, and your horse might come in to your required odds, but there's no money to lay off, maybe £1 or so, so you don't manage to get your money off. It's much easier on shorter price horses. 25 might even be too high. You might want to kind of stick that to 12 or whatever. We can have a look at the odds in a minute, and when I go through the results and kind of talking through how you can use your results, I'll do that in the next tutorial video. We'll explain that. But yeah, this is your price range. Okay, now the next thing you want to choose is your betting window. When do you want to be trading this? Okay, now most of the time I will use official start time, 10 minutes before the race and race start. The reason for this is that essentially it's much easier to try and know when the actual 10-minute window is before the official start time than the real one, because in horse racing, if you've been watching horse racing for any length of time, you'll know most horse races don't go off until a few minutes after their start time. It's actually very, very rare that a horse race goes off bang on its start time. So if you're trying to guess when it's going to go off and you're trying to work out this window perfectly, it's going to be quite difficult to do. So I just like to do it to official start time, because it's very easy. If a race starts at 3 p.m. and this trade starts 10 minutes beforehand, well, I know that the trade window is from 2:50 to 3 p.m. regardless of when the race starts. So it's very simple. But again, this is for you to choose. You could decide you want to do it a different way, okay, and that's fully up to you. The icons are in blue, and that's because it's a back. Our strategy is a back. Now, if you wanted to do, for example, a later back and you're doing something different, you could look at this and go, hang on, it's blue. Oh, I've done the wrong bet side. So that's quite cool. It's quite good how that happened. Let's see if we can just change this to lay, and I'll show you what I mean. So we click lay, and there you go. So we've picked the betting window, and they're now pink because that's the lay side on Betfair. So that's quite a clever addition by Adam, our software developer. So let's choose that again. We're going to keep that betting window as is. What you might want to do is you might want to do it in place. So you then have to move the little toggle along the bottom here from race start to after start, or you could do it all the way to race end. We're going to do before race, and we're going to do 10 minutes beforehand to the off. Okay. You could narrow that. You could want to do all your trading before the race. So if you put both the toggles on the race, you then just have to give it a time here. So you might just want to do it in a 1-minute trade window. Okay, and do it like that. Okay, and that's, you place your back bet within that 1-minute window. Well, we'll keep that on here. Actually, that's quite interesting. So we're actually going to trade this between 10 minutes and 9 minutes before the start. Okay, number of qualifiers. This means how many horses, maximum or minimum per race, can be your qualifiers for a selection. So in this case with DOBs, it doesn't really matter too much. Obviously, you know, if you get 2 or 3 DOBs in a race, you know, It's probably quite hard for that to hit all the time. But again, at this point, what you could do is just leave this blank as is now, and then later on, go, right, I want to change it to, I can only have a maximum of 2 horses per race qualifier. And then once you've done that, you could run both those results and see which one works better. That's always the best way of testing things. Again, because none of this is about my opinion, none of this is really about your opinion. It's about testing thoughts, testing opinions, testing ideas. Traded amount, you can choose what traded amount the horse would have to have on it for it to qualify as a selection. And then favourites is quite a good one. You can pick, you know, whether they're the favourite, second favourite, and you can also exclude it as well. You can exclude whether they're favourites or not. Same with outsiders and same with favourite prices. Okay, so again, you can look through that. Again, I don't think a ton of you are going to be using things like outsiders and favourite prices at the end, because you can do that on the entry price anyway, and if it's a favourite. So, but it's nice to have the option. It's nice to kind of have a wealth of options there. Now, close your trades. This is where, if you've got a certain type of strategy and you want to close your trade, this is where you do it. Now, most people, if you're just straight betting, backing or laying, you can just leave this as it is. Okay, and the default is no exit defined. Okay, but we want to target a profit of 1 point profit. Okay, so we want to make a 1 point profit because it's a dob. We're either gonna, let's say we're betting £10, we're either gonna win £10 or lose £10. But you might go, well, I only want to do a half dob. Okay, well that's 0.5 points, isn't it? Okay, so work out how many points of profit you want to make. And point is basically a unit. Some people call it a unit. It's like a stake. It's kind of how you view your bank. I view it as this is how I view it, and this is how the software will view it as well. Let's say you have a 100-point bank, right? 1 point is your target here. Okay, so if you've got £100, it would be 1%. Okay, and let's say you're betting £1 per race on the dobs. You will be looking to make £1 or lose £1 on these trades. Obviously, you're not looking to lose £1, but you know what I mean. So you can then actually add a stop loss as well. So if it goes to a certain price, you can obviously get out of your trade in that respect. Obviously, with the dob, we're not going to do that. And if a target of 1 point's profit, okay. Exit time, there's no restriction. We're going to let this run to the end. Again, it's a dob, right? We're not, if it hits the dob status right at the end of the race, we're not going to be complaining. In fact, sometimes you will get a situation where your horse wins the race but never actually hits the dob price, amazingly, and you can make a full profit, which is fantastic. Okay, so you know, another bonus with dobs, if you will. Build your bank. Very simple. You say what your bankroll is. I think this is such a cool feature. So let's say we've got a £5,000 bankroll, and then you pick your stakes. Well, with a dob, we're just going to use flat stakes, but you could use percentage of bank. You could use profit and liability as your stake type, and you can use either fixed stake or dynamic stake distribution. Again, if any of this is confusing, just stick with the presets, okay, and just choose what stakes you want to use. So in this case, we're going to use a £5,000 bankroll. Let's use £50 stakes, okay. Commission 2%, but you can change that if you need to. And then exit type is obviously a hedge because we're hedging for the profit or we're just losing the stake. The next thing to look at here is a really cool one, and I've done a video on this recently, so I'm not going to kind of label this, but it's customizing results. What's cool with this is where you can choose what to look at in the results, okay? So there's a few things I like to look at. I like to look at country, going especially is a good one. I like to look at number of runners. I like to look at, but basically you just select these things and then you run the strategy and it will show you your results in terms of how well it would have done for those things. Now, one thing we want to match it up with here, if you remember from earlier, we had a look at race type, okay? So that would be something I definitely want to look at in the betting rules. If we looked at race type in here, I'll do it here. I'm just going to select race type. And that basically means we've now got 3 things we're going to look at. Now, the more things you add to this, it will take a little bit longer for it to process the data, because it's got to run it through in all these different ways. But it's so cool that you can see how well class would have performed. Another really good one to look at. You can see kind of the prices that did well. That's another one I want to look at, actually, wasn't it? I did mention entry price, so we'll add that one. Could just do BSP, actually. No, because we're getting in beforehand, aren't we? It's actually quite near the bottom, this one. Okay, so entry price, I think, is a really good one. You could look at entry time, broaden the scope, and then see which entry time works really well for your strategy as well. I'm going to leave it like that because we've got a few. And then all you would do now is run the strategy. So I'm going to run this strategy, and I'm going to go through the results in another video because, again, gone past kind of 10 minutes already here. But yeah, if you want to get hold of LightSpeed Stats, you want to be able to set up a proper professional horse racing strategy, give yourself a chance to create an edge, make a profit on horse racing trading. I mean, why wouldn't you want to do that? Just head over to lightspeedstats.com and sign up. If you're a football member, you do get a big discount, and obviously we've got so many football members being, Betfair trading community has been going for, well, I've been doing it for 11 plus years, and I know it was going for a year or so before that. So, obviously a lot of people there, and loads of you guys signing up for the horse racing, which is fantastic, which I want to focus a bit more on it now, get some more of these videos out. But yeah, if you're a football member, you do get a big discount. You need to email me. Just email info@betfairtradingcommunity.com or info@lightspeedstats.com. Some of you guys said you missed it last time, or you need help with strategies. We've got free strategies that we give away that have done well. If you want those, you don't have to be a member. Just say the word free, and I will send that document over to you guys, and you can have a look at that. And yeah, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. That would be great, either on podcast or on video, however you're watching or listening to this. But most importantly of all, I hope you make some money trading the horses on Betfair.